Hi guys, and welcome to another video. This has been my review of the latest episode of Monday Night Raw. So this episode started off with tying up the bet that Pat McAfee and Michael Cole had over the NBAs, where the Pacers beat the Knicks. And we're back. In the UK here, we're a bit out on the loop on the NBA. We can kind of like have coverage of it, but it's not a big thing over here, so it kind of like passes us by quite a lot. So we're kind of like out on the loop, but yeah, the Pacers won, so this meant that Michael Cole lost the bet, and then that he had to commentate for the night wearing Pacers jersey. So we had that, and then we moved on to CM Punk promo, where he was, because he was competing in the Money in the Bank qualifier later on in the evening. So he was basically pushing forward his desire to win the Money in the Bank and become and win gold again. And this was interrupted by Sami Zayn, which wasn't the person I was expecting to kind of come out, but we had interruption with by Sami Zayn, who came out, who basically had pledged his full support of CM Punk winning the Money in the Bank, wanted CM Punk to win the Money in the Bank, and basically just to use their friendship to kind of like cut a deal where he was like, and when you do win the Money in the Bank, when you do become world champion, I won that title shot. Which CM Punk was happy to oblige with. So we then had the news of Stephanie Valkyrie getting promoted to the Raw roster, which was something I had seen like going around. Had some reports on social media, but I kind of took them with a grain of salt until we had like official confirmation. But yeah, so it's been officially confirmed that Stephanie Valkyrie has now signed on to Monday Night Raw, which makes her loss on the NXT a lot more bearable now. It's like we were all kind of totally blown away when she lost the title on NXT, and for like we were just hoping we weren't going to then keep her on NXT, just kind of treading water with these feuds. So yeah, we got so we had that news where it was confirmed that Stephanie Valkyrie was going to be promoted. We then moved into a triple threat with Stephanie Valkyrie, where she was in a triple threat Money in the Bank qualifier with Liv Morgan and Ivy Nile. And instinctivly, I was like, it would make sense for Stephanie Valkyrie to win here in continuing that push. But it was announced that I believe Stephanie Valkyrie was booked on World Collide, which is taking place in the same day as Money in the Bank. We kind of like it's the PLE booking now with this summer in WWE is crazy, but that's another topic for another video. But yeah, it was announced that Stephanie Valkyrie was had been booked on the match in Worlds Collide. So it kind of like changed my mind. I was like, well, it would make sense for Liv Morgan to win this, especially with it being quite a big PLE. I mean, Money in the Bank isn't as big as like obviously Royal Rumble or WrestleMania or whatever, or even SummerSlam, but it is quite a big PLE, and Liv Morgan is the MVP of like WWE. She has been for some time, and I'd still kind of like say that, but yeah, so this was like a really great match. Obviously, three great talents in the ring. It ended with Stephanie Valkyrie picking up the win. Yeah, so I guess Stephanie Valkyrie will be pulling in a double shift at the weekend. So yeah, I mean, I'm not against it. I do kind of feel like I do seem to. It does give me like recollections of like the WrestleMania build though, where we were all a bit like, they can't leave Liv Morgan off of WrestleMania, like she's just too big a star, so we kind of gotta find something for her. Yeah, but like I said, I mean, we had Liv Morgan obviously lose to Kairi Sane last week, so she's on a bit of a losing streak. But like I said, she is still kind of like the MVP of like the WWE at the minute, especially in terms of a women's roster. So yeah, we then moved on to a Rusev promo. This was led to footage of Sheamus backstage, and we can kind of continue that build, which is another like match on that I'm like kind of really looking forward to. I think these guys, we know they're best. We know they're good friends in real life, so we kind of feel like they are going to just like absolutely go for it. During this match, and I just think it'll be a fun match to watch. So yeah, we moved on to a tag team contenders match between the War Raiders again. We and the Judgment Day, or should I say Finn Balor and JD McDonough. So yeah, initially when this match started, I basically had an eye roll. We had the New Day out here on commentary, which are always a blast. I just think their mic skills are great. I mean, I don't think we're doing enough with them with their actual in-ring talent, but I always think they're just great fun on the mic. But yeah, this dynamic, obviously we know that Finn Balor's been on this losing streak for some time, to a point where he's picked up a name Finn Balor. We got the War Raiders, and we're like, oh my God, please say we're not going to continue with this. So please say we're not going to continue to stay in this sort of War Raiders New Day vortex. So we've been kind of, at the tag team division has been stuck in for some time on Raw, and thankfully, hallelujah, it did not end like that, because after the New Day were sent off, after they were provoked by the War Raiders, I felt like sending them out was a bit harsh on them, but it totally understands in how this match played out, how they kind of needed to clear the floor, because the match ended with Roxanne Perez continuing to try and worm her way into the Judgment Day and charm members of the Judgment Day, and she ended up interfering, costing the War Raiders a win, allowing for Finn Balor to hit it with a coup de grace and pick up a win for the 1, 2, 3. So it was great. It was great for a number of reasons. It was great that Finn Balor actually won this and made the win. But it just feels nice to kind of like finally be out of this American-made New Day War Raiders kind of vortex that we've been stuck in for some time, and we finally have new contenders, which is great. And yeah, so hopefully it still feels like this tag team division is still going to be quite a long road back, but at least they've indicated some steps forward in the right direction here, finally. And on that note, we had a number of tag team pairings on this match, and I'm happy to say that they all kind of seem to kind of make sense. We didn't seem to have any of these like Frankenstein monster pairings that we've been seeing on Raw for some time. All the tag team pairings here kind of like made sense, and they had like that foundation and that establishment. So yeah, hopefully, like I said, I think it'll be a long road back, but hopefully this episode of Raw did represent steps in the right direction here. So we then had a spot backstage with Stephanie Valkyria, where she had a brief meeting with Rhea Ripley, which again just kind of like got us all kind of like excited. There's so many fantasy bookings that you could make now with Stephanie Valkyria on the main roster. Obviously, quite a while ago we had Stephanie Valkyria against Io Sky, which would be would be definitely one on my bingo card list. That's definitely a match I want to see. But also, yeah, Stephanie Valkyria against Rhea Ripley, I think is another potential banger that you could put on. So yeah, that kind of like got me all kind of like excited. So we then moved on to the Judgment Day backstage, and then we basically continued this angle where Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez were happy with Roxanne Perez trying to worm her way into the New Day. We had Finn Balor basically just still kind of like grinning like a Cheshire cat. It still kind of seems to be that this kind of like story that they're going with Raquel Rodriguez and with Roxanne Perez trying to worm her way into the into the Judgment Day is kind of like just a second phase of this fallout between Finn Balor and the Judgment Day. It does just kind of like feel like that. And then we had we had another tag team match between Jey Uso and Sami Zayn, tag teaming against Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed. Again, a tag team pairing that just felt very natural, felt very kind of like established. Obviously 4 great talents in the ring. It was expected. It was only kind of like let down, I suppose, by its predictability, that we kind of knew that this match was going to end in shenanigans. It was going to end with and it sure enough it did. We had Seth Rollins coming out, hitting CM Punk hitting Jey Uso with a stomp. This is prompted CM Punk to kind of come out and make a save, and then it just felt very kind of going through the motions here. But yeah, I mean, we've been seeing this quite a bit on Raw, where there's been quite a few interventions for the purpose of kind of like for certain stars to kind of like save face, where they kind of like don't. So they kind of feel like that. That they don't want to kind of like take a pin because they feel like it would kind of like damage them, and there's been these kind of like interventions. So they are getting a bit too regular. I do, but it's not something that's really kind of like affecting my enjoyment of it. It just it just kind of felt like it's like it's one of them where it is what it is. So we then moved on to Kairi Sane and Raquel Rodriguez. This was carried on from last week, where like I said, Kairi Sane picked up a shock win against Liv Morgan after interference from Roxanne Perez backfired. So Liv Morgan had previously made it very clear in their backstage segment to Finn Balor that it was that she absolutely wanted Roxanne Perez staying out of the way here. Finn Balor was like, "You got it." So and once this match was announced, it kind of became very apparent on the angle that they were going to go for and how this was going to kind of like play out. You kind of knew that it was going to play out with Io Sky coming out, especially seeing as they had Io Sky and Liv Morgan in that other spot backstage earlier in the show. So it kind of became quite apparent that this was the angle that they were going for, but we were kind of like moving towards Kairi Sane and Io Sky taking on Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez for the tag team titles. That seemed to be very much kind of like a play here. That seems to be in the pipeline, and that's how it played out. We had Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez playing a numbers game, and we had Io Sky coming out to make a save to kind of like set that up and whet our appetite for when they're going to pull the trigger for that match, which again will be like an absolute banger match. I think you just got 4 great talents in the ring. So we had a spot backstage as well with Karrion Kross, who was basically again hovering over Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn had basically had this It's like he'd been doing this over the past couple of months. What is your obsession with me? Why are you hanging over me? And Karrion Kross was basically teasing what's been going to like circulating for some time about a potential heel turn for Sami Zayn, and basically reminding him about all of the character that Sami Zayn is going with, where he's kind of almost this holier than thou kind of guy, to a point where it can be kind of grating sometimes. And he was like, you're not as good as you think you are, like, and which kind of like there is some validity to it. This guy is like an OG Bloodline member, so it totally makes sense. We have seen heel turns from Sami Zayn before now, so there is definitely meat on the bones to what Karrion Kross is saying here. But it's just another fun segment. It's another. It was another segment to kind of like get us talking and theorising about a potential Sami Zayn heel turn, which I think will probably happen at some point. I don't see it happening anytime soon. I don't think this is the time to pull the trigger on it, but I feel like it's definitely something that's just kind of like waving around somewhere. So we moved on to main event now, which was the men's Money in the Bank qualifier match between CM Punk, AJ Styles, and Grande Americano. And Grande Americano just came out here. He looked like he had just turned up at the wrong party. He kind of like stuck out like a sore thumb in this match. We were kind of like, we saw these three and we were like, what's wrong with this pitch? I mean, there are similarities you can draw between the three in their kind of like wrestling styles, I guess, but he just looked kind of like out of place here. He just looked like he had just turned up at the wrong party. It reminded me of that episode of Only Fools and Horses where the old boy just turns up at the funeral, right, just as Batman. It just kind of like had that kind of like vibe. It just sort of he just like looked really out of place in here. But again, this was another match. Like, you had 3 great talents in the ring. It made for a really good match. And again, just like the tag team match with Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed taking on Jey Uso and Sami Zayn, it was only really let down by its own predictability. We kind of knew that this match was going to end in shenanigans. I kind of felt that yes, and that's kind of like what happened. Obviously, we had Seth Rollins coming out, we had Jey Uso coming out, and then it was we had AJ Styles going to pick up a win with a phenomenal forearm, and El Grande Americano hitting AJ Styles with a headbutt to pick up a win. So yes, we have El Grande Americano now filling the final spot in the Money in the Bank qualifying, which I just think, on face of it, I gotta say, I don't hate it, but it is what it is. It just feels kind of like, something feels kind of like unjust about it. Do you know what I mean? I can't say I entirely hate it, but like, I kind of also, there is a part of me where it's just like, we had the potential for like Liv Morgan in the Money in the Bank qualifier. We had like potential for AJ Styles or Sami Zayn in the Bank. We haven't got any of that, but we have got Grande Americano in filling the final spot. So it is what it is, I guess. I mean, on this note, I didn't fully like expect it. I did kind of think that maybe this match was going to end in extra chaos, where maybe Grande and Macron was about to pick up a win, but then we had some interference maybe from the LWO or Penta or Ray Phoenix. They've kind of got a beef with Grande Americano. So I thought this match could totally end up in absolute anarchy, but yeah, that didn't happen. Grande Americano picked up a win, but this wasn't the end of the match because the feud between CM Punk, Jey Uso, Sami Zayn feuding with Seth Rollins' new faction kind of continued. We had the continuation where basically had where CM Punk, Sami Zayn, and Jey Uso ended up getting beaten down by Seth Rollins' new faction. But then we had a nice little play into what Gunther was talking to Jey Uso about last week, where he's like, you're not championship material because you're a bit too good for that. You kind of just can't. You kind of need to be a lot more self-involved, whereas you just kind of like can't help yourself about helping people. And this definitely played its part in how this match turned out, because while they all kind of like got to beat down, Jey Uso definitely got the worst of it. We had he taken basically 2 frog splashes off the top rope from Bronson Reed, and it just it just so that he's not going to be going into his title defense against Gunther 100%. His probably ribs are going to be bandaged up, but it's so it does kind of like play into that and bring that back around. So that's definitely going to be a play, obviously, in their match and the Money in the Bank, and we'll just see how it goes. So yeah, that pretty much wraps it up. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. Like I said, if you want to see more, don't forget to ring the bell for notifications. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until the next video, you take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time around. Bye.